is responsible for the excellent or pathetic levels of motivation in the team? Are the individuals responsible for their own mental frame and outlook, or is this the job of the boss? As a leader, how are we supposed to motivate others anyway? Can we actually motivate others? We see plenty of Hollywood portrayals of the halftime big game locker room scenes of the leader whipping the team into a motivational frenzy to go out there and beat the competition. Is this what we are supposed to be doing every morning before we gird our loins and go forth into battle and business? Find out in today's highly motivational episode. Welcome back to this weekly edition every Monday of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, your corporate coaching and training guy, president of Dale Carnegie Training Japan, and best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery and my new bestseller, Japan Business Mastery. We are bringing the show to you from our High Performance Center in Akasaka, in Minato-ku, the business center of Tokyo. Why the cutting edge? In this show, we are looking at the critical areas for success in business in Japan. We want to help advance everyone's thinking so that we can be at the forefront, at the cutting edge of how to flourish here in this market. Before we get into this week's topic, here is what caught my attention lately. In an article in the Nikkei on hidden taxes, it was noted that between 2013 and 2017, the premiums for shakai hoken or social insurance increased by an average of 58,690 yen, while annual salaries increased by 160,000 yen. This means the boost in premiums reduced the effect of the wage increases by nearly 50%. In related news, last year, Japan had an excess of 211,000 hospital beds nationwide, or 14% more than in 2013. Japan has 13.1 hospital beds per 1,000 people. This is the largest ratio in the OECD, where the average is 5.4. This is important because 40% of medical costs in Japan go towards hospitalization. If medical institutions have spare beds, the impulse is to fill them. Finally, according to the Institute of International Education, of the 1.1 million international students studying in the USA at higher institutes of education, 363,000 came from China, 196,000 from India, and 54,000 from South Korea. Japan, by comparison, had 19,000 tertiary students in the USA. If, like me, you're looking for the English-speaking, capable Japanese staff who've studied overseas, there's going to be a lot of competition here for jobs for those 19,000 students when they return home. This is episode number 111. We're talking about, okay, boss, motivate me. それでは行きましょう. So let's get going. Motivate me must be one of the saddest requests a leader can receive. The request may not be put so bluntly, articulated that way, but the underlying assumption that the boss is there to motivate the staff seems to linger. Oh, if only I had a better boss, I'd do better. Oh, if only this company got its act together, I could get mine together. If only these other staff weren't so hopeless, I could do better here. These people are holding me back. The search for salvation, located in the responsibility of others, is a big fail. Many religions offer salvation, but they all seem to require something from us to deserve that salvation. The world of mammon is no different. Motivation, loyalty, accountability, effort, responsibility, engagement. Probably every boss is expecting these from their staff. They are all outcomes from the inputs from both the boss side and the staff side. We know what level of staff motivation we want as leaders, but how do we achieve it? Some favoured leader methodologies are yelling, threatening, instilling fear of loss, shaming and humiliating. Steve Jobs ticked quite a few of those boxes in his early days as a leader. He's become a halo-encrusted saint-like figure nowadays because he took Apple away from the brink of self-immolation and gave it a second life through his leadership. He was, however, a flawed leader who at various times resorted to all of these methods. His later success does not validate these bully boy tactics and abuse. It was okay for Jobs, so it's acceptable for me to cascade the tough love down to my team. Maybe no. You and I are not Steve Jobs, so let's not get carried away with the parallel logic extension. He had many other fine attributes driving his success, and remember, he was successful at that moment in his field, not ours. We also need to look at the opportunity cost of what he could have achieved had he been a better people leader. Getting massive compliance will not get you enough creative innovation. It is difficult to be fearless about coming up with new ideas and possibilities if the boss scares you to death. Jobs could have done much, much more if he had played to his people's strengths rather than abusing them about their weaknesses. He was able to get brilliance from the brilliant, which is probably not all that hard because they are brilliant anyway. The trick is getting more brilliance out of the average person. That requires a lot more effort and skill. This is also where most of us live because brilliant people are terribly expensive and usually we can't afford too many of them. By contrast, Craig Bellamy is a rugby league coach in my country of Australia, leading the Melbourne Storm team. He is famous for taking second and third level athletes and turning them into first-class talent. His club didn't have the financial capacity to pay for a team full of stars, so he took people with potential and developed them into stars. This is a better model for us because very few of us can afford to employ a team of stars, but we use our strengths to create stars. Another challenge for strong leaders is they often work off the assumption that what made them successful is the model for everyone else to follow. If it was only that easy. This is why you hear so much whining when bosses get together. They are dissatisfied with the staff because they can't operate at the level they require. We forget sometimes that we too had to learn things when we were at their age and stage that we now know and take for granted as common sense. I hope this isn't new information, but unfortunately, few people are ever going to be like you. You realise this as you go through life when trying to deal with various others, but mysteriously, we tend to forget this fact at work. There is a reason for those differences. Personality styles are often broken into 4 quadrants, and by definition, we tend to suit one quadrant over the others. Hence, 3/4 of the population are automatically not on our wavelength. So, how can we motivate the people who are not like us? Probably the majority of our staff. By the way, if your staff are all the same personality style as you, because that is how you've stacked the recruiting system, settle back for disaster ahead. Your flagrant cult of your personality type and lack of diversity will bubble up so much groupthink, you will assure yourselves you are correct all the way along as you speed lemming-like straight off the cliff. Find out more when we come back from the break. If you want to be successful as a leader, do the Leadership Training for Managers course. All companies need people who can both manage and lead. Leading people screams out for real skills in communication, dealing with all different types of people, being excellent at innovation, planning, delegation, handling mistakes, doing performance reviews really well, and inspiring and motivating the team. Do the Leadership Training for Managers course now in either Japanese or English. Are you doing business with Japan? Do you really know how things work? Japan Business Mastery provides the answers. Do you have the right networks and know how to create them? Do you know how to get on the same wavelength with Japanese buyers? Do you know what being trustworthy looks like from the Japanese perspective? Japan Business Mastery is based on more than 30 years' experience in Japan and will become your go-to guide. Want to succeed in Japan? Buy Japan Business Mastery now. Welcome back. Let's assume that is not the case and you have a typically diverse work group with people with various preferred personality styles. Do yourself a big favor and start communicating with the team as they prefer. This is beyond the golden rule, on toward the platinum rule of treating everyone as they wish to be treated. That means knowing what is self-motivating for each person and counterintuitively aligning that with the organization's goals rather than the other way around. Think about what you have to do in order to achieve that powerful outcome. Here's a hint. Communication skills, one of the most important soft skills, are a key to success here. What we say is important, technical expert content, but how we say it, expert communique delivery, is more important. Many professionals are in complete denial about this. They firmly believe that their big brains, rich experience, and abundant knowledge will be sufficient. Not true. We like to do business with people we like and trust. We might trust your professional skills, but if we don't like you, we will only deal with you if we have no alternative. That would be a pretty rare case in these highly competitive times in rival-infested professional fields. In Japan's case, dentists and lawyers are good examples. There are currently too many of them for the size of the market and the demand. So the competition is fierce. In this situation, being able to communicate well with the client is critical. If they didn't feel you're on their wavelength, they just head off to another practitioner. This will be the same challenge for how middle management in Japan communicates with the younger generation. If the young don't like it, they will leave. Given the constant demographic nightmare of fewer and fewer young university graduates, then they have many alternatives apart from working for you. If you're engaged in hiring staff, then you know all too well what a fraught and painful process this has become. You also know who bears the whip hand, and it isn't you. Be clear, we can't motivate anyone but ourselves. However, as a leader, we can create an ecosystem where the team are encouraged to motivate themselves. Mirroring their preferred communication style when speaking, which is based on their personality style, leads to better understanding. Talking in terms of the other person's interests rather than our own is more likely to be motivating for them. Talking about what you want will be of moderate interest to them, but talking about what they want, and they will be all ears. The trick is you have to spend time with your team to know what their individual interests are. We loop back to the soft skills of good communication. The boss's barked order generates docile compliance. This isn't getting us anywhere. However, the alignment of staff self-motivation with the direction of the organization's strategy, coupled with the right communication skills, gets our people going the extra mile. That is a good goal. Create a platinum rule, turbocharged self-motivation environment at work. Staff should motivate themselves, and bosses should craft environments where staff motivation can be encouraged to flourish. This is a better distribution of responsibilities and has more opportunity for sustained success. Action steps. 1. Build on people's strengths rather than focusing on their weaknesses. 2. Remember, you aren't Steve Jobs, so don't mimic his faults. 3. Your success model only works for you, so don't expect it of others. 4. If you only hire people just like you, prepare for disaster. You need diversity of ideas, solutions, and thinking. 5. Use the platinum rule. Treat everyone the way they want to be treated. And 6. How you say it is more important than what you have to say. 7. Create the environment for self-motivation. That is your main job as a leader. And 8. Mirror the communication style of each of your people for the best communication outcomes. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show is here to help you succeed in Japan. Subscribe on YouTube. Share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Become a regular. Thank you for watching this episode, and remember to hit the subscribe button. Our website details are on screen now, enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. It's awesome value, so check it out. Please leave me some feedback on YouTube. I would love to know how this show has helped and what other topics you are interested in for me to cover. Remember, I'm here as a free resource to help you, so just tell me how I can help you best. You might also enjoy my other weekly shows. These are all the podcasts we have. Mondays for the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show podcast version. Tuesday for the Presentations Japan series. Wednesday for the Sales Japan series. Thursday for the Leadership Japan series. And Fridays for the Japan Business Mastery Show podcast. You get these all wherever you have your podcasts available. Also on Fridays, I released my other TV show, the Japan Business Mastery Show, on YouTube. In episode 112, we're talking about why lawyers are so bad at presenting. Find out more about that next week. So, yoroshiku, onegai itashimasu. Please join me for the next episode of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. We are here to help you. And we've only got one direction in mind for you and your business. And that is up.